Hi, everybody. It's time for the Tilley and Billy Show. Coming to you live from the Cornerbank Sports Bar and Grill. The Cornerbank Sports Bar and Grill, Warden Avenue in Scarborough, just north of Eglinton. 14,000 square feet of fun, pro standard playing equipment, great food. Book your party today. Call 416-757-2265 or go to thecornerbank.ca. By the way, before we get going here, Billy, I just want to give a shout out to Cliff Thorburn, who's here at the Cornerbank all the time. The legend, former world champion Cliff Thorburn, the first man to shoot a perfect game at a world championship in snooker, and it's his birthday today.
Awesome. Cliff Thorburn is what Wayne Gretzky is to hockey. That's what Cliff Thorburn is to pool. He's one of a kind, and we're looking at the parking lot. Where the hell is this guy? Anyways,
He might come by.
Once he comes by, we'll slide him right in.
If he passed by today, if he happens to
absolutely.
be in the neighborhood, we'll have him by. But we just want to give that shout out.
And I'm Billy the Greek too, by the way, Joe. Thanks a lot. I go 1 and 3 on the football picture. Forget my name. Should I go sit behind the table underneath there? Eh? Well, we'll talk about that later. Anyways, you were saying, go ahead, start promoting, man.
You could use the humility.
Yeah. Okay, all
What
right.
happened last
Yeah,
week?
all
Okay,
right. Come on.
So anyway, first on the agenda here in the Tilley Billy Show is, by the way, if you subscribe to the Tilley and Billy Show, it's a good thing. Then you can catch us. You'll get notifications when we do anything on YouTube. That's a good thing. Subscribe to the Tilley and Billy Show on YouTube. All right, first order of business out of the gate today. We're going to talk about the Maple Leafs. They played tonight. They are home to the Avalanche, and coming off a tough game against Boston. And I can't believe the stuff I'm reading on Twitter and Facebook. Whenever the Leafs have a tough loss, a close loss, it's like, trade this guy, trade that guy, their bums are useless, pieces of crap. Let me tell you something. They lost 3-2 to a Bruins team. That was a very good Bruins team, which is totally healthy now. Charlie McAvoy's back, Bergeron back, everybody back.
Okay.
Now, the Leafs played a great game, outplayed the Bruins. The difference in that game was Tuukka Rask, former Vezina Trophy winner, one of the best goalies in the game. And he was
Drafted by
the Leafs, and who they opted for Justin Pogge instead of Tuukka Rask, but that's another story for another day. It's a guy who just right now is at the top of the game. Which came into that game red hot and stayed red hot. Leafs had Michael Hutchison in goal. Hutch is a good player. He is a good goalie. He's showing some potential, but he's not their number one goalie. Put Freddie Anderson in that game, and you might have a different outcome. That's all I got to say about that game.
The Greek is neither a Leaf fan nor an apologist, doesn't come on here to be a pessimist either. The facts are the facts. The Bruins are a one-line team. You shut down Bergeron, Marchand, and Pasternak.
Pasternak, yeah.
Where's that scoring coming from? If you can't shut down a one-line team,
Well, they did get scoring from other
they
places.
if you shut those guys down, Boston can win. Just like Colorado's coming in today. All right, how long?
Their
you been,
number one line.
How long you been doing this?
Yeah.
How long you been doing this?
35
35
years, yeah.
plus, maybe 30, 37, right?
Yeah.
Name me 3 other forwards on the Colorado Avalanche other than Landeskog, McKinnon, and Ratton.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Can you?
Yeah,
No, can you? It's a one-line hockey club. You can't beat a one-line hockey club.
Right.
Right. Not only gonna have problems tonight and tomorrow, just like you had in Nashville. Nashville skated with Toronto. Same quality of skating, less talent, obviously. We'd all agree on that. Toronto was invisible for the entirety of the game, right? So at what point in time, I know you're high on the Leafs this year, and most fans that have suffered through the Ballard era, as you did, right?
Yeah.
Finally see a talented squad, and it's
Suffered a lot, actually.
it's understandable to get excited, right?
Right, yeah.
But at the same point in time, when are you going to become a realist?
This is the best Maple Leaf team we've ever seen.
On
in terms of
paper.
pure talent.
On paper.
Pure talent.
On paper, right? Does
Yeah.
paper translate all the time?
Well, not
Did
all the
paper
time, but-
translate against Nashville? Did it translate
Not
against
all the
Boston?
time, but it certainly helps. If you got it on paper, at least you got a chance. Here's
Gotcha.
what I'm going to tell you right now. The Leafs have the number 2 offense in terms of goals for. They have the number 4 team in the league, number 4 team in the league in terms of goals against. And everybody complains about how bad this defense is. The defense isn't that bad. And the only trade that I might make, and I've been thinking about this for the last week or so, is the only trade that I might make from a Leafs standpoint is I might let Gardner go.
You might.
And the reason I
What's
might
brought you to that? What's brought you to that
I'll tell you
conclusion?
what. I'll tell you. I like Gardner as a player. I think he's a great player. I think he's a solid defenseman. He's a great puck mover. He's great on the transition game, getting the puck up the forwards.
That's a big word. Great. He's
no,
okay.
he's solid. He's
solid.
Okay,
Not
he's
great.
Solid.
Well,
Yeah. Okay, maybe.
Let's hold that.
He's definitely solid. He's a solid defenseman. The problem, there's two problems. One, he's going to be a UFA at the end of the season. Okay, that's problem number one. Problem number two is Leaf fans are on his case. The poor guy reminds me of Larry Murphy.
In a way.
Fans are on him all the time. He takes nothing but grief. You read all the social media, everybody wants
He's a whipping. He's Toronto's whipping boy.
It's
you know what it would help, Joe? It would help if once in a while he played with two hands on his stick. Number one, that would go a long way. The guy skates around the ice the whole game, and he's allergic. I don't know which hand does he hold it with, the right or the left. And one of the two hands is allergic.
You don't get to this level. You don't get this to this level of the game without knowing how to.
I find it's not even.
I don't see him getting a stick knocked out of his hand.
It's not even Gardner's. Not even
the
the issue. The issue is Riley Gardner, as we've mentioned, and Dermott are the same kind of players. You need a different look in the back end. Somebody that's going to go in the corner, somebody that's going to knock a guy off the puck. They're all the same guys back there, just like they're all the same guys in the front, right? We need a little diversity. Can't win with like Leafs, for example, and getting back to the Nylander signing, right? How long? You're a patient guy.
Yeah.
I got to admit, you hang out with me for
Hey,
so long, and you still like me. But how long are you going to give this guy?
That's a lot of patience. Yeah.
How long are you going to give this guy? He's had 15 games, and over the course of the 15, hold on, let the Greek finish. Joe, you always want to jump in. Take it easy, relax, Let's have a sip. Through the 15 games, Freddie Gauthier's got more goals. Good, eh? Freddie Gauthier's got 2 goals. Nylander's got 1 goal, 2 assists. How long?
Okay.
How long are you going to sit before you call this guy out on this podcast?
Okay, no, you're not dumb. You're not a dumb person. I'm assuming your observation is pretty astute, just like most of us who watch these guys play. You're not telling me that that William Nylander that you're seeing right now is not a better William Nylander than it was 6-7 games ago. You don't see him doing more with the puck. You don't see him getting into the corner, getting into the play more. You don't see him coming around. He's playing better hockey. The goals are going to come. I'm telling you. It takes when you miss like 30 games or whatever it was he missed. That's a significant.
Yeah, Matthews misses 30, comes back in shelves too. They're different players.
He misses 14.
Misses 14.
He had all the training camp with the team. He had all. It's a different story.
How about
you come in mid-season when everybody else has got a half a season under the belt? You're starting from scratch. It's going to take you a while. I got no qualms about
You got
this
no
at
qualms. All right. Do you have a qualm?
William Nylander's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. Mark my words. By the end of the season, you're going to be on side with him.
All right. Let's take it from another perspective now. Would you agree that the quality of the Leafs play has diminished since Nylander's return? Is that a fair comment? Now, whether it's coincidence or not, is that a fair comment? Number one, Joe, Dubas at the point in time when Nylander
There are
was
other
hit, you don't think
factors.
there's
Freddie
people whispering
Anderson.
in
There's
the
Freddie Anderson with his groin injury. There's Freddie Anderson with his groin injury. There's there's other factors. For a while there, who was their number 1 goaltender? It was an injured Garrett Sparks. They had to bring in Hutchinson from nowhere. Poor kid just gets thrown.
Still got the Florida pads on.
Yeah, he's still got the Florida pads on there. Like they've had some issues. Let's face it.
Yeah, okay, hold on.
There are other issues than just William Nylander returning.
And again, we'll move on from this shortly, but we got to make this point. William Nylander, it's like say Jim over here, right? He starts paying the busboy more money than the waiters, right? You might go out of business soon, man. You can't pay the sous chef more than the chef himself or the prep cook, right? Leafs had the opportunity, right? If you got 7, 8 nice Italian suits, right? You look nice, right? But you only got 1 pair of shoes, man. You got 1 pair of shoes and 7 suits, and you go pay Nylander $7. You put on another thing, and your shoes are ripped. The only pair of shoes they got is Riley. So you have this guy who all would agree is excess. He is not the go-to guy. He is excess on the front, on the forward lines of the Leafs. Would you agree that he's excess? He will always be.
I wouldn't call him excess.
Will he ever be better?
He's a solid second-line player.
He's a solid line player, but he'll always be behind Marner, Tavares, and Matthews. Do we agree on that?
Right.
So if you're 4th on the scale at best.
But you know what? You need a second line on the power play.
You need a second line
You need a second line.
You need more than a second line on the power play, Joe, is you need a stud defenseman. You need a stud defenseman. And when Nylander was holding out for $6.9 million, he was holding out. He held us hostage for the first 3 months of the year, got his money, hasn't played a lick. Dubas should have jumped on the opportunity because you know what? If he keeps playing the way he's playing, you know what we're going to trade him for instead of a bona fide defenseman? We're going to trade him for a fourth-round draft pick and futures and maybe cash considerations, right? If
Maybe
he doesn't
a
come
Matthews
around,
jersey.
right? So
Autograph,
again, man, like the Leafs have, in essence, are one Freddie Anderson groin injury away from missing the playoffs.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. And you want to talk about depth and injuries and what have
Listen,
you?
there's 12
Every team has injuries.
yeah,
what
yeah,
happened
yeah.
to Tampa Bay
Listen,
when their goalie went
there's
down?
12 points separating them in ninth. Okay, so they're
No, eighth.
Ninth. There's
Okay.
12 points separating them from ninth. Okay, so, and 5 teams would have to pass them. 5 teams would have.
How
to,
many points are the
you know
5
what kind
teams
of collapse
behind?
it would take? You remember when they went off the cliff in 2013 or whatever?
So
it
if
was?
Anderson goes down,
It would have to be a monumental collapse. And even without Anderson, I would take Michael Hutchinson today and Garrett Sparks backing him up for the rest of the season and still be comfortably. I still think that they would comfortably finish no worse than third in that
Do
division.
you think under those circumstances they would take that parade from Yonge Street? Would they reach where
Yeah,
your states
you
in
may not be
Newcastle?
talking parade anymore.
Would you
if,
take the?
If Freddie Anderson has a long-term groin problem, you may not be talking. But you know what? They've given him plenty of time off. The groin is going to be fine. He's had the flu, which is why he missed the last couple of games. I believe he's going to be starting tonight. But anyway, that's enough about the Leafs. This segment has been brought to you by the Tax Expert. If you need help with personal and corporate tax filings, if you're being reviewed through the Canada Revenue Agency Audit and Appeal Divisions, Taxperts Group is the best firm in Toronto. 2 lawyers and 3 CPAs. Call us at 416-493-0444 or go to the website at taxpertsgroup.ca. All right, there you go, Taxperts Group. Next up, let's talk a little bit about the Raptors. All right, just give a little shout out to the Raptors coming off okay, that game against Washington. Okay, Washington is a team that's coming in scorching hot despite the fact that Wall's out for the season. Okay, they beat the Bucks, they beat the 76ers, and they come in and they a real nice comeback by them against the Raptors to force overtime when they were down 23 points. Now now, a lot of people out there might be saying, okay, the Raptors blew a 23-point lead against the Washington Wizards. What the heck is wrong with that team? But here's what I'm thinking. They blew a 23-point lead, all right, against a team that is scorching hot on their own home floor, and despite blowing a 23-point lead, they came back and beat that team in double overtime. That, to me, shows more heart and more strength of a champion than anything.
The strength of a champion, Joe, will never be determined in a regular season game against the Wizards.
Let me put
showed
it this way.
Showed a little bit of character.
The Raptors from before Kawhi Leonard was part of this franchise. Let me tell you something. Before
They lose
Kawhi
that
Leonard,
game?
they lose that game. This is last year's Raptors. They lose that game. They blow a 23-point lead and they go, oh my God! And you can see last year when they would blow a lead, you can see that the team would just go. This team was not allowed to do that. And I think it's not just Kawhi Leonard. I think a lot of it has to do with Nick Nurse. I think a lot has to do with just the team chemistry in general. This team is not going to let up. They just keep coming at you, and I just was really impressed by that. By the fact that they came back, they blew that lead, but came back and won the game anyway.
I was intrigued by watching bits and pieces of the game. Only to imagine what Otto Porter would look like in a Raptor uniform or Bradley Beal.
Bradley
right?
Beal. I mean, there's been talk about
you
training,
put Bradley Beal in the Raptor uniform and on top of what we already have, and you got something special. Now the question is, do we have the assets, and are we willing to? Because the only guy for me that's off limits in terms of a trade, obviously Kawhi, we're not going to get rid of him. Lowry, nobody's going to take him with the contract. Everybody and their cousin's going to ask for Siakam. So if you ask for Siakam, would you give Siakam the way he is? Because you know what, truth of the matter is, I wouldn't, but there's others that might. Would you?
But
give
isn't Beal a free agent?
that I don't know.
I think he's a free agent. So I mean,
No. At this point in time, it would register in my mind he's not a free agent. So
well, then maybe you could get away with OG Anunoby.
and can we possibly throw in? You know what would be a great deal if we threw in our cameraman Brian, right?
I'm just saying, OJ.
Are that
Yeah.
young fan over there, my buddy David, and we're throwing, you know what? Futures and CJ Miles, man. It's going to be tough.
OG and Anobi in a draft pick.
Yeah, well, take it easy, Joe. What do you want to do? Fleece the guy? The franchise is already on a downhill slope. You want to fleece him?
No,
We'd
I
have
mean,
to throw in some futures too.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it'd be tough to lose a guy of us. CJ Miles.
And I got to tell you something else. Though. The thing is, they're not getting a Bradley Beal. Anyway,
No.
Okay. Because,
Somebody will though.
Well, maybe.
He's out.
Because
He's out there.
I think right now you're looking at a Wizards team that is borderline playoff team.
No.
They're coming off some wins over some pretty impressive teams, and they're coming off an impressive outing against the Raptors. I think that franchise is looking at them like they're going to try to make the playoffs. They're going to hang on to what they got. So I don't think we have to worry about Bradley Beal coming to the Raptors anyway. If he did come, that would be nice.
Well,
But I'm not giving up Siakam. I'm not.
No, neither am I. But again, I'm looking for Masai to make an addition of some kind, and I'm sure he will. In terms of an upgrade on the shooting guard position, right? And bring us another presence from outside. The presence CJ Miles again hasn't delivered all year. There's a hole there.
Yeah.
Masai will fill it. The question is with who, and so only time will tell.
And Norman Powell got hurt.
He's been playing good ball too.
Yeah. All right, this segment is brought to you by Aldo, our good pal Aldo
Yeah.
at Rematch Crossroads. Call 416-GET-ALDO. And Aldo's a good guy. Hey,
Yeah,
thanks to everybody,
for the
Aldo.
dough.
He's a good man. Good man.
And he
But
knows
that's-
his business inside,
sure. Years experience in
inside
real
out,
estate, yeah.
inside out. So if you're thinking about like anything to do with selling, buying, he's the
He's a man.
he's the man. He's like akin to what the Greek is to sports gambling, almost
Yeah.
on par, right? Get all the
No, he's better than that.
Oh,
We'll get to
yeah.
that later on. Okay, so Jays. We're going to talk a little Blue Jays today. I mean, they made the deal for Russell Martin, and when they make the deal for Russell Martin for a couple of prospects, I think to myself, what are the Jays becoming? What are the Jays right now? What are the Blue Jays?
Blue Jays are in the process of transitioning. Blue Jays are in the process of trying to get rid of every contract they have. The only one again they can't get rid of is Morales. You know, he's got the
And this is the final year.
Yeah, he's got the home to first time of a week and a half.
Yeah.
He can't,
But he did have some
Yeah,
moments
he's-
last
yeah,
year.
he's-
You know, I mean, I'm not confident that the Morales is going to have a good year, but I think it's possible for him to have a good year.
Eventually, if you want to rebuild a franchise, right, you can't rebuild and be competitive at the same time. It's like you can't have one foot in the water. Like last year, they tried to play a what-if
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
Try to
That's
sign
what
some.
they
They try to dumpster dive with some free agents.
Right.
Right. Sell some hope.
Yeah.
And in reality, it's like you can't have it both ways. Either you tear it down and let the kids play.
Right.
Right. Or you ask Rogers, who, by the way, like I was late on my data plan for
Right.
one day.
Right.
Rogers cut me off. They sent checks. 5 people called my house, man. If only they showed the same effort in trying to pay for these Blue Jays to win. Anyways, that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
If at this point in time, Shapiro and Atkins, this is the only recourse they have. Cubs won the same way. Houston, you got to tear it down. You got to tear it down and let the kids play. So if we have Martin, right, we can't have Martin sitting on the bench and play 30, 40 games. That wouldn't be fair to him, right?
Yeah.
Same with Whiskey. Where are we going to play Tulo? Even though I expect a big year from him coming back for the Yankees, actually, a little prediction off the cuff that Tulowitzki might be comeback player of the year if he stays healthy again, right? But really,
Well, I don't see that.
yeah. Well, I remember, Joe.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
take it easy
yeah,
there,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
Let the future, let the untold unfold. All right,
Yeah,
in that way.
okay. I'm not seeing it, but who knows?
Right.
I mean,
So again,
good for him if it does.
Yeah, and again, you got $35 million and you're paying out of your pocket to
Yeah.
guys that are not playing for you, right? And the only reason the Dodgers took Martin off our hands is we're paying the freight, 16 out of the 19 million, right?
Yeah.
Right, got it.
Well, I mean, and the fact that he's a winner wherever he's been, and,
Yeah,
and you know, and he's probably a good guy to have around.
He served
to,
his purpose, right?
To help the kids along. I mean, you know, I think there's some upside
Yeah, you
there.
think-
If you get him for nothing, why not?
Yeah, you think back to when Martin signed. The point of contention by many in the know was the 5th year the Blue Jays gave him.
Right.
Nobody was willing to go 5 except Toronto. So
Right.
obviously that 5th year has come to roost. People knew what they were saying at this point in time.
Yeah.
You can get through 3, you can get through
But
4.
look what you had.
Yeah, and
Okay?
again, it's
forget about that. Look what you had. You had those 2 years when they were a playoff team and made it to the ALCS. I mean,
and a beautiful,
that was worth it. I don't
Well,
care what
without a doubt.
all the deals they made all the prospects they lost, everything else,
It was
worth absolutely worth it.
without a doubt. I
Toronto was
can't
buzzing.
disagree.
Canada was buzzing.
Yeah.
It was nice to see that franchise back, back on top.
You know what's coming up in about what are we now? January what?
January 14th.
You know what's coming in 33 days?
Yeah. Spring training.
Pitchers and catchers report. You believe that? That's
Right.
unbelievable. Get ready for.
I know when it gets real stinking cold, it's almost time for spring training.
Get ready for your 65-win Blue Jays coming at you.
Yeah.
17,000 a time, man.
Yeah,
Make the Rogers Center go crazy, baby.
Yeah, but you know what? Forget about that. I mean, if everything went perfectly well, if everything went, what is it called? What's the line that Trump used? Peachy.
I don't know. That's not what I
He
heard.
mixes this metaphor. He mixes peachy
yeah?
keen and something else.
Oh, yeah?
Everything goes peachy wonderful.
Yeah.
The Raptors, so the Blue Jays will be
What?
sort of they might win as many as they lose if everything goes well. If everything goes well.
If everything goes well.
Sanchez and Stroman regain top form, if everything falls into place.
Yeah.
Because this is a team that's being pretty much gutted. But you know what? That's the way you have to do it, as you mentioned. You're all in. You're either all in the rebuild or you're all in and stock in the team.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got, and I think it looks like they're finally, like you said, they should have done it last year, but it looks like they are all in terms of the rebuild, which is what, it's what the Leafs did, and it's worked out well for them.
Absolutely.
All right, this segment brought to you by Wealth Realized Financial Services. Visit Mike Hopkins at wealthrealized.ca. Mike, they'll help you with your money.
Yeah,
because
he diversifies portfolios, that Mike,
Because speaking of money, if you took Billy's picks last week, you
here we
probably
go,
lost
here
a
we
little
go.
bit. So you give Mike a call. You put your money in with Mike instead of with Billy,
Yeah, man,
because
yeah.
his NFL picks heading into last week, you were 5-1-1 on the show.
Yeah.
And what happened last week? Well, Billy was. Well, you tell us, Billy. What happened?
I don't know. Refresh my memory. So,
1-3.
So,
Your Cowboys did not do well. Listen to the Cowboys.
before I do what I gotta do,
Okay, all right.
Cowboys, Cowboy Ram game. In my years of watching, I have never in my lifetime seen a domination at the line of scrimmage and the likes that the Rams put on the Cowboys. I never in my lifetime have I seen anything like that. The Rams dominated that line of scrimmage from the opening kick to the final kneel down. Cowboys were lucky enough. Again, forget about the spread. It was a 7.5. They won. But in all fairness, the Rams were by far the better team.
In the previous week, the Cowboys had shut down the running game.
Yeah, it's different. It's different to shut down the Rams running game because the Rams give so many different looks. Seattle's a more conventional team. They run it up the middle, right? Dallas's defense is known to play from sideline to sideline. They got punched in the mouth. All the running. And by the way, C.J. Anderson, right, got cut by the Oakland Raiders. And this guy looked like, I don't know, from your days, Earl Campbell, O.J. Simpson. He was, and this guy can't play on the Raiders. Ran for 120.
If you're looking at how to run a franchise,
you're
not looking at the Oakland Raiders, all right?
Keep talking, and hold the audience back. The Greeks just,
Okay, so
What else you want to talk
the Rams,
about?
The Rams.
What else you want?
I don't know what's going on here.
Take
folks,
it easy,
but it's not
man.
pretty.
Hey?
Hide your eyes, kids. Hide your eyes.
By the way, if you want a physique like this, go see my buddy Brian at LA Fitness on Don Mills. He'll take care of you. Stay away from the buffet, and you might have something like this one day. Hold on. Keep talking, Swiss. Keep talking.
So anyway,
what else you want to talk about? What other football games?
Well, before we get to the picks for next week.
Well, forget the picks for next week. Let's talk a little bit more about.
Okay,
let's talk a little
the
bit more
Patriots.
about
Oh
Edie
my
Kroll.
God, the Patriots. Philip Rivers. We thought maybe this is going to be his day, and Tom Brady gets it down. But what's going on here? Okay, here we go. Okay,
Hey,
tell
you know
us
what,
what's
buddy, man? I'll tell you this, man. Wipe that smirk off your face.
Oh, I know what this is about.
This is going to be a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Enjoy this. You know what? Frankly, the Greek Sundays, I'm a spiritual individual, obviously, right? So Sundays, I'm in between my meditations, my football, right? And I like to sprinkle in the odd drive for my facial treatments, my eyebrow threads, right? I like to mix it up, right?
Yeah, the spa treatment.
So what happened this Sunday? And you can fill me in on the Patriot game because I was in Newmarket. So the Greek says, you know what? I got to go get this Rams jersey. I'm a man of the people and a man of my word. So I go to one place, no Ram jerseys. go to another. Ended up, you know, where I ended up. I don't even want to say, but Newmarket.
What?
To get the
Newmarket.
Newmarket.
You went for a drive.
To get this stinking jersey, and I
Okay.
got home at 3:30, and I flip on the TV, and Brady was winning 35-7 at the half. I lost my mind. We both eulogized the guy, and that guy stuck it, you know, where the sun don't
Yeah,
shine.
yeah.
Him and Belichick, right?
He's definitely got one more run. We'll see if he can do it again.
You can't count out that cockroach Belichick.
So
boy.
tell us about the jersey, though.
Well, I don't know, man. It cost me 110 bananas, man. And by the way, for anybody out there that, on a more serious note, because, you know, the Greek gets serious every now and then, I will be donating this jersey after lightly worn, as a matter of fact. And I will be donating this jersey. You can come to the corner bank and pick it out of the front garbage. in about
Because-
20 minutes,
okay.
man. Ask
But
my
tell
buddy.
us why you're wearing the jersey, because you lost a bet with Tony, right?
I lost a bet with a scoundrel, and when I'm talking a scoundrel of all scoundrels, he's somewhere. He's sitting somewhere with this wide, dopey smirk of his, anyways. But the truth of the matter is, his Rams came out to play, and if the Rams dominate the line of scrimmage the same way they did against the Cowboys, because again, you're a fight guy, matchups, styles sometimes make
Yeah,
fights,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So if they play at the line of scrimmage the same way they get Dallas, they're going to give New Orleans all they can handle. The only thing, as any Ram fan would attest, the only thing that's debatable and a question mark is that secondary. It's full of holes. Even that could exploit a little bit, and have
Against Drew Brees?
Against Drew Brees, that's going to be again probably flip a quarter, man. The Greek might take it easy on the picks for a little while. I don't know. And if I don't go at least 1-1 this week, I'm gonna get Manuso to make the picks. Manuso.
Manuso.
Yeah, that's my dog.
Oh.
I'm gonna get him 2 bowls.
Okay.
And he's gonna go. One's gonna go here. One's gonna go there, man. Again, 1 and 3. This is like.
Okay, I mean, but to be okay, so your record on the show is now 6-4-1. So that's pretty against the spread.
Yeah,
Against the-
pedestrian.
So that's okay. All right.
Okay,
so,
but hold on. Let's be fair to you. Let's not throw the Greek under the bus too.
we'd like to call that gentleman over here.
No, that's not him.
Oh, that's not him. I say. Okay.
Holy shit, this guy, they're like twins, eh? Maybe that's his brother, man. Want to slide him in there? Holy, we want a Cliff Corbin
Anyway,
on the
yeah,
show
yeah,
that
yeah,
look
yeah,
just
yeah.
like him.
Yeah,
Holy
yeah,
jeez,
yeah.
sorry, Cliff.
Anyway.
Hold on.
Okay. Yeah.
One missed field goal by New Orleans.
Yeah.
Up 2014, covers the spread, and
Right.
half a point on the Dallas. Greek goes 3-1. Man, he's getting
Right,
pats
right,
on the
right,
back.
right,
He goes
right.
1 and 3. He's getting kicks in
That's
the ass, right?
So, but that's the pick of the
Ah,
games. That's what you're
yeah.
dealing with. I mean, it's it was easy. It would have been easy for the Cowboys to cover. It would have been really easy for the Saints to cover. I mean, it's a 52-yard field goal. The
Yeah.
problem is the play before the field goal.
Yeah, he's good.
Because they lost 3 yards on
Yeah,
the play.
right.
Okay, so if they just dive ahead and get another
Yeah,
yard, now it's a
like-
47-yard field goal instead of a 52.
Tell me when you're watching the game.
And this game is, and then you cover.
When you're watching the game, right? When the guy misses the field goal, every instinct inside you is saying, this Eagle team is blessed. Who knows, from either up above or down below, right? And they're
Because
going to
now
go.
they come back and win.
Yeah, 23-14, the
And
game's
if the
over,
ball
right?
doesn't go through that sure-handed receiver's hands,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
like,
So again, that's why we watch the game. It's like you don't know from play to play, right? You don't know. So
okay, before we end the show tonight, we want to tell you about a couple of shout-outs. First of all, our buddy John at the Walsh's Snug in Newcastle. Down to Newcastle, great
Fish and
food,
chips.
music, lively conversation, great food at the Walsh's Snug. And we've got a contest for you. The return of Damon
holy shit, Damon Stoudemire,
DeMar DeRozan.
Well, yeah.
The return of Double D.
Yeah.
DeMar DeRozan, February 22nd, Scotiabank Arena. We're going to have the draw here, right here at the corner bank on Saturday, February 16th. And we're going to have other prizes as well. We want to thank SIG for the tickets. 2 tickets to see the Raptors play in Section 106. It's a chance to see, right behind the Spurs bench, so you can heckle DeMar as he comes back. But well, hopefully they don't heckle him much. I mean, remember when Kawhi returned to
treatment will be
to
much
San
different here.
Antonio,
Man.
he got
Treatment will
booed.
be
That
much
was- that
different
was
here.
brutal. DeMar DeRozan deserves a respectful return home, and and after a slow start, the Spurs are really coming around. That's going to be a
So you
tough
want to win
contest.
this? You want to win this contest? You're probably asking why? What do I got to do?
Okay.
Perhaps you want to get in Greek's good favor, he might think about getting you in front of the line here. Maybe call me on my cell phone if you have it. But otherwise, you got to come to you got to watch number one. You got to watch
Right, because
my
the code
ugly.
word is Greek.
Yeah.
Okay. The
So
code
you
word
got to
is
know
Greek.
the code
In order
word.
to enter, you have to know the code word. So you have to watch this program in order to get the code word.
So the code word is the Greek, and what you have to do is you have to watch a legend in my ugly face for this podcast, and come to the corner bank, write down the code word on the piece of paper supplied. What do we got here? A little ballot box, right?
Little ballot box, yeah.
All right. Write the code word and your particulars, and we're going to draw live on February 16th for this contest. As you said, more prizes. We're going to do it live. It's going to be Saturday night, February 16th, big day, you know. And we're going to have Greek's actually spur of the moment kind of guy. So I haven't told nobody. Surprise you if you're live in the audience when we give away this contest winner. Greek will also give you out of his own pocket $300 to go and pay for park.
Whoa.
Yeah, well, without a doubt, I'm a man of the people, eh? I'm gonna give you money to pay for hot dogs, parking. You know, those tall boys down at the Raptor game, they're not cheap, eh? So you know, we'll take care of you. We'll take care of you. So the only way we can do that is if you take care of us. Come down, enjoy the environment, enjoy the people, and let's. Without you guys watching, man, me and Joe are just talking in his luxury. What do you got out there, man? A little number. And there's a little BMW. It's a nice little number. Just two
I
guys.
call it A. It gets me from A to B. A.
Yeah, A plus. So without you guys out there, we're nothing, right? So as we grow, we want to grow along with you. And along those lines, I'd like to give a special shout out at this time to my buddy Kenny Middleton. Kenny, awesome guy.
The voice of harness racing.
The voice of harness racing. He's back in the saddle at Mohawk. And not only is Kenny not only is Kenny the voice of Mohawk, he's one of the preeminent announcers in North America. But that's not even why I'm talking about this guy right now. You know who Kenny is? He's a gentleman. He's a class act. Kenny's got a position, but Kenny does not forget about the people. You send him something on Facebook. You send him a message. You say, "Hey, buddy, I'm a big fan of yours." You know what this guy will do? He'll call you back in 5 minutes. He'll send you a message. So there's a lot of prima donnas that come and grace cameras, right? That bore you to death every day, and the same thing, insiders, this, that, the other. Yeah, whatever, man. Times are changing. But Kenny's not one of those guys. As big as Kenny gets, he'll still pick up the phone. He'll still do whatever it takes to reach out to the fans. He's a man of the people. We love you to death. Keep up the good work, Kenny. Also want to give a shout out to my buddy Gabriel. And on a more somber note, Christina Marie Beckers and her family had a passing a couple of nights ago. The grandfather passed, so my condolences to the entirety of the Beckers family for the pass. You know, guys, stay strong. Love you, and we wish you all the best as you guys move forward. Okay.
Yeah, and Billy, by the way, I just want to say that you making that $300 donation for the Spurs and Raptors on February 22nd. That's awesome because if you happen to lose $300 on Billy's picks last week, it'd be a nice opportunity for you to collect and get back even.
That's what crow tastes like. Yeah, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, friends? Yeah.
All right. Anyway, we want to just thank you all for joining us here on Tilley and Billy Show from the Corner Bank Sports Bar and Grill. Anything you wanted to comment on, Dave? Here? Oh, thank you. Thanks, man. All right. Thanks for joining us here live at the Corner Bank Sports Bar and Grill. A shout out to our cameraman Brian Glasgow, and keep watching. We'll see you next week. Well, actually, I'm going to be on vacation.
You're going to be
week.
on vacation,
I'm going to be cruising next week, so we'll figure things out. All right.
We'll figure things out.
We'll either see you next week via Skype or